Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we are here to talk about a brand new Satin Kajal jewel liner from Victoria Beckham Beauty. This one is called Smoky Quartz. We have a lot of comparisons, and we are about to try it on in just a moment. I actually don't have anything but a little bit of mascara on my eyes. All right, so let's get started. This is, as I said, the Smoky Quartz Kajal jewel liner from Victoria Beckham Beauty. It is her fourth jewel liner. Perhaps you are used to her satin Kajal liners. Those are, of course, much smoother, although some of them are a little bit reflective and probably could have been considered a jewel liner. The jewels, however, are saved for a little bit more of a chunky, glittery look. This is the fourth one. The others are, she has kind of a sparkly green, a gold lame that definitely has some chunky glitter, and a kind of a black smoky shade. Not worth comparing as the shades are very different. What makes the jewel liners, other than that, different from her satin liners? They advise not to use them in the waterline. Now, had I not known that warning, I probably would have used it in the waterline with no issues. And so many of you have told me that you are daring, and you do. But since I read the warning, it kind of put me off doing it. I will tell you that I've used a lot of the kind of more slightly sparkly Charlotte Tilbury color Chameleons in the waterline and found out later that I wasn't supposed to, and I never knew, and I had no troubles, you know. But sometimes when you know. So we won't be using this in the waterline or to tightline, but I know a lot of people who have, and it's fine. This one doesn't even seem particularly sparkly. You'll see in a moment. So the satin jewel liner in Smoky Quartz is $30 with the sharpener and $28 without the sharpener. I've had a lot of questions, more than I can tell you, about sharpening these. They look plastic. They don't look like they're wood, but they do sharpen. A lot of people love her Victoria Beckham Beauty sharpener the most with these liners, either the satin or the jewel, and with her lip liners. And it's $2 more, $30 if you get it. If you got your own sharpener that you're happy with, you can pay $28. But whether you buy it with or without the sharpener, this little guy does need to be sharpened, and sharpens very easily to a beautiful point. Okay, so let's do some comparisons here. Let me show you what it looks like first, just on my arm here in Studio Late. Let's just swatch it together, shall we? There it is. Yeah, I know. Let me make it a little thicker for you because I know what you're saying. I can't see it, you're thinking, Rebecca. It's kind of a brown bronze shade. You know, we're going to compare it, but let's do something first, if you don't mind. Let's take it outside into the warm California sunshine, where you get a close-up, as you see, and I'm going to show you how reflective it is, which frankly I don't think is that reflective. I think there are some of her other satin liners that are a little more jeweled. And as the gold lame jewel liner does feel almost like a chunky glitter, this one feels pretty smooth. I'm not putting it down, but I'm just telling you, I'm not seeing a massive difference between this as a Kajal jewel liner versus any of her satin liners, to be totally honest. Now, the name Smoky Quartz evokes a lot in the makeup industry, doesn't it? I mean, I thought, for instance, about Wayne Goss's eye palette, which is actually called Smoky Quartz, and countless other palettes that are called that. There's just a ton of them, aren't there? Some of smoky with an EY, some smoky with a Y. There was no sense in swatching that. There's no similarities, but it did come to mind. You know what really came to mind? A few things. We have a Charlotte Tilbury pop shot called Smoky Quartz right here. And we have two Charlotte Tilbury color Chameleons that are kind of similar too. And since they're in stick form, it made me really think about it. But here is the Smoky Quartz pop shot. That was a recent holiday release from Charlotte Tilbury that you might have, a real popular one. Let's just put them side by side since they're both called Smoky Quartz. One, of course, is a pencil. One, of course, is a powder. Very different, and they look very different too. But they do share a name. But I think just like the Wayne Goss Smoky Quartz palette, the only thing these two really share is a name. I'll tell you what is kind of similar though. I immediately thought of the color Chameleons also from Charlotte Tilbury, and those are a little bit closer. So here is Dark Pearl. And I'm going to put dark pearl right here. See, now we're getting a little closer. Dark pearl is a little bit more of a pinky, warm brown. This has more, the Victoria Beckham Beauty new Smoky Quartz has more of a green or olive tint to it. And I also got out the Charlotte Tilbury Golden Quartz Color Chameleon. And that one, now that one is darn close. So here is the Charlotte Tilbury Golden Quartz Color Chameleon next to the, or a little bit next to, the Victoria Beckham Beauty Satin Kajal liner in Smoky Quartz. Very, very similar, and both in pencil form. So it makes it a little bit more similar when it is in pencil form. This also comes with the Victoria Beckham jute bag. I order a lot from Victoria Beckham, so perhaps I'm not the one to speak on this, but I don't think she has to do one of these with each. They're nice, and probably just because I review Victoria Beckham Beauty so much, I am a huge fan, despite what it may sound like, sorry about that, but I think she can hold off on these. It's kind of like, speaking of Charlotte Tilbury, when Charlotte Tilbury was doing a lot of those gift boxes, and I thought, please, I don't need any more. I don't know that we need any more. Maybe every third order, I don't know. You guys tell me, do you like getting these, or are they starting to pile up? I think they're piling up a little bit here. All right, let's try this guy on. These are lovely as a one and done shade for a number of reasons. First of all, they're super pretty. Second of all, the little sponge tip on the back of these are incredibly handy, and they make it really nice and easy to do a one and done with just this as your tool and no other tools. The only issue with using these as a one and done is they are soft, just like any of her satin liners are. They're soft, so you'll be sharpening it a lot and you will go through it pretty quickly. So if it's something that you want to savor, probably not the best, but we're going to try it that way today. Could you mix this with any of these shadows or any shadow of your choice, or the Victoria Beckham Lid Lustres? Of course, but just since it's new and it has that new factory tip, I love that, we are just going to test it as a one and done on its own. Again, you of course can use this as a base even for a shadow. Would be super pretty. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just kind of close the eye, and I'm going to give, I'll just do one eye first. I'm going to give a really messy line here and then start kind of coloring up. Super pretty as a one and done shade. Although, like I said, I do have to warn you that you'll go through it awfully quickly that way. All right, taking the little sponge here and just kind of, you could even, if you're talented, not even that talented, you can even go out a little bit and give it a little bit of a wing if you want. So here's kind of one layer on just this eye. Nothing on this eye, of course. Okay, let's go under a little bit too. And I'm just going to leave that. I'm not even going to smudge that. And then another layer. I'll do the other eye sped up, so you don't have to sit through it. Now we're getting a little bit darker and more interesting. And now actually, I might be taking that back. Now some of the glitter in the pencil is starting to show a little more. Now could I, again, put this in the waterline or tight line with it? That just depends how brave you are. But again, perhaps to cover their own backside, the brand does recommend that you do not. Why? Oh, glitters can be a little sharp sometimes by the eye. Let's do a third layer, and then I'll do the other eye sped up. Okay, so this is about as dark as I'd want to make it. Super easy. Look, I'm chatting to you as I do it, and I'm not even being very precise. I just kind of like it. I just kind of like it as a one and done shade. And I think they work really, really well for that. I think it's really pretty. All right, let's do the other eye sped up. And after you finish, you could even go in like I'm going to do here and, line a little bit with it and not smudge it, just so it makes it a little darker by the lash line. And a little bit more here. And that is a very sultry look. And I actually don't feel, after telling you that you go through it quickly, I mean, you do, the point is almost gone. But in terms of her Kajal liner shades, this one isn't quite as soft. Those of you that complain that her satin or jewel Kajal liners are a little too soft might like this one. I find it a stiffer formula than some of the others. Now, we have talked on this channel before about the fact that it kind of depends what shade you choose, whether or not this stays or can run if it gets wet. Like all of the others, it definitely won't budge once it sets. We'll talk about if it runs or not in a moment, but it won't budge once it sets, which is actually why I do one eye and then the other. You don't have too much playtime, and it is really nice that it then doesn't move. It makes the satin liners at least really good for the waterline, although very soft. And I have told you guys the story that a lot of people say about the Bordeaux. It definitely sets, but if it gets moist or if you sweat, it will run. This doesn't feel like one that's going to run, but I will wear it for the rest of the day, and then I will insert a comment right here as to whether or not this ran or moved and how the staying power was. So I will do an independent wear test and wait to edit this until I've worn it for quite a few hours, and I will let you know all of that information below. But a real pretty one. This is my favorite of her jewel liners. I do like the gold lame, but I don't really have a reason to wear it. This one I feel is a really smoky look that's also appropriate for day. So this is definitely Rebecca approved, this shade. And if you're looking to find, to try out one of her jewel liners, I kind of like the consistency of this one the best. And it's just super pretty as a one and done. It didn't use up as much of this as I actually thought it would because it's not quite as soft. And I really like the shade color. It's just kind of a bronzy, goldy olive. It's super pretty and would be really actually quite pretty with her olive satin liner in the waterline or tight lining. And again, you could tight line or use this on the waterline if you dare. The brand does recommend that you do not. However, our eyes can be very sensitive to little glitter particles, so please take that into consideration. I wanted to take a moment and thank the lovely Tina and Deb for using the super thanks, along with many others who also chose to do so, who wanted to do it anonymously. It just depends on the person. But thank you to everyone who did that. It just helps. I buy a lot of makeup. Somebody said to me, Rebecca, you have memberships and super thanks, and I do. And if you don't want to participate, I would never expect anyone to. The content is, of course, free, but a little special extra thanks to those who do kind of donate by membership or by super thanks. It just helps keep the lights on around here. So I am extremely appreciative of all of you, donating or not. I think you guys know that, though. I really, really do. All right, so let me know your thoughts on this liner, please, below. And if you think you're going to pick it up or what else you picked up. She had some really good Black Friday stuff. So tell me what else that you picked up, please. That's what makes us a community. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I sure hope that you did. And if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to this channel so we can keep going. Lots of good stuff coming into the new year. I got lots of ranking videos, foundations, and all sorts of other makeup. We got a lot to do. We're very, very busy here. Come say a big hello as well over on Instagram and TikTok too. And I hope to see you all in the next and upcoming videos. Bye-bye.